Recording in progress.
All right.
All right. So, good evening, everyone. Greetings, no matter what time you are joining us, whether you're watching this live or on the replay. We do appreciate you taking time this evening to or today to be with us. And with that being said, I do want to let you know that these sessions are brought to you on behalf of the GEG Louisiana. All right. And this session is going to be digital citizenship. And we definitely want to give a shout out and a thank you to book creator. And then we have one of their customer success managers here, John Smith, who is here. Uh, Thank you again, John, for putting on this session and some of this part of this series that we have been doing for everyone. How are you feeling today?
Absolutely, I feel great. I think I was just looking at my calendar. I think this is the last one of the series.
This is the last one, and I definitely have learned so much with regard to book creator, and I'm sure that everyone who's been tuning in has learned a whole lot. We've given away some licenses and things of that nature, and do we have anything to give away here today, John?
We do, and right now, Gisela, I don't know if you can hear us or not. I'm still trying to figure out if you can hear us, but if you can hear us and you stick around to the end, your chances of winning are pretty good because it's it. You're the only one here. Now, if you already have a book creator, the paid version of book creator, then you don't need to worry too much about it. But at the end of the webinar today, if you don't have the paid version, you will. If nobody else joins us, so this will be good. And if somebody does join us late, then we'll just go by how many minutes you've actually been here. So the chances of you winning are good if you stick around to the end.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, I'm excited to be here and
Yeah.
I'm ready to roll whenever you are, Wiley.
All right. And so I do just want to put into the chat, both here and on the live stream, uh, the sign in sheet, because if you uh, attend this session, you can go ahead and sign in and you'll be able to receive a certificate of attendance for CEUs, which are the continuing education units to show your whether it's your principal or your supervisor, your district, your partner, that you have been continuing to uh, improve and learn more so that you can get better for your students. We also have a number of other sessions available coming up at geglouisiana.com, but I'll also put some of those things in the chat as well. So at this time, John, I am going to throw it over to you.
All right, awesome. Well, let me just share my screen here, and yeah, whoops, that's not even the right library. When I was playing around, and I went into the wrong, I went into the wrong library. There we go. All right, so yeah, again, thanks for having us, Wiley. We really do appreciate it. My name is John Smith. Like Wiley said, I am the iPod teacher on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter and you want to give me a shout out, great. If not, that's okay. I'm also John Smith at bookcreator.com. So I'm always happy to chat about Book Creator and ways you can use Book Creator in the classroom. So I taught special ed for 12 years, mostly fifth and sixth grade. And then after that, I was a tech integration specialist for 7 years, mostly at a high school. So after 19 years of teaching, I am a teacher success manager here at Book Creator. So lots of webinars, lots of conferences, sales, renewals, anything I can do really to help teachers and schools best utilize Book Creator. That's really what I'm here for. So I'm married. I've got 3 kids, 12, 8, and 5. I love golf and I love clean cars. So I like to detail cars on the side. So I always say if you're anywhere near Ohio, come on over. I'll be more than happy to detail that ride for you. I think Gisela is from Paraguay, so that probably won't work so well. But Wiley, if you're ever near Ohio and you got a vehicle with you, let me know. So we'll get it taken care of.
Definitely.
So yeah, tonight's agenda, we are going to talk about digital citizenship. using Book Creator, specifically for some digital citizenship ideas. We're going to share lots of resources, some ideas, and all that kind of stuff to get you started. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with Book Creator or have not used it in the past, the best place to go is right here, app.bookcreator.com. And I'll put that into the chat window here. So that is our website, so app.bookcreator.com. And this is going to allow you to sign up for a free account with us. Now, we do have a free account and we have a paid account, but you can sign up for the free account right here. The only thing I always mention, though, is make sure that the screen is not yellow, because the big yellow screen is actually the student sign-in. So you don't want to sign in as a student. So you want to click where it says Switch to Teacher. You'll have a big blue screen, and then you're going to sign in as a teacher. And when you get here, it's going to ask you a couple questions. What do you teach? What grade level? And eventually, it's going to ask you to create a library. You just kind of jump through the hoops. And once you jump through the hoops, you'll be brought to something that looks like this, like your library right here in front of me. But it does not have any books in it to start. So before we get into all of the other good stuff, I always like to bring everybody here to the teacher dashboard. So at the top left, you're going to click those 3 black lines. It's going to bring you to your teacher dashboard here. And in the teacher dashboard, it's where all your books and libraries live. But more importantly, we have a Discover section, which is filled with sample books written by students and teachers. So I always recommend going here. We have books written by our ambassadors, which are really powerful and on a wide range of topics. And then underneath that, we have books by subject. And so I always tease Book Creator and say that the worst thing about our company is our name. Because usually when you say books, that's when English language arts teachers get really excited. And then everybody else kind of looks at themselves and says, well, do we make books in our class? I don't know if do we make books? And so I really love these books by subject area. And again, if you're totally new to Book Creator or if you just need some extra guidance, we do have our support articles here under the Learn tab, and we have our certification program. So what you get with our certification program are 18 videos followed by a quiz. And you watch these short videos, answer the quiz, and pass the quiz, and then you become a Book Creator certified author. You get a cool badge, you get a cool certificate that you can download into your give it out to your school district or whatever if you need to. But more importantly, you will walk away with a deep, deep understanding of all of Book Creator's features. Videos. All right, so just from a simple level, I just want everybody to, like I said, if you're new to Book Creator, give that a shot, have some fun with it, try some things out. But that brings us here tonight and to our topic, which is digital citizenship. And so when I was looking at digital citizenship, I kind of found some definitions online. And I found this one that I actually really, really liked. And so I stole this definition of digital citizenship, and that is the ability to participate safely, intelligently, productively, and responsibly in a digital world. And I love that because it says, productively. And it's not just kids sitting back and soaking it all in and just being okay with, what's going on, but being productive, right, in this digital world and also being responsible. I don't think that anybody really anticipated that, we would be thrust into this digital world as much as we were when the pandemic hit, right? And I think a lot of times, teachers, schools, and just anybody who was kind of avoiding this technology thing for as long as they possibly could, kind of got, like I said, got thrust into this world where they had to use technology because everything was remote. And at the same time, there were a lot of students that did not have any kind of sense when it came to, this digital world and being able to live in it, right? And so I think this is why this is really, really important. All right, and so today, like I said, we are going to continue that discussion, right, and figure out how we can do this. And I think the other part of this too is that, and what you'll see here when we go over these books, is that digital citizenship, in my mind and in the mind of others, really needs to include a safe, mentored experience. I think, again, a lot of times as teachers, I know I was this way, we don't really know everything that's going on out there. And instead of trying to learn about some of that stuff, sometimes we just try to avoid it. And what inevitably happens when we avoid things is the kids will figure out how to do that on their own. And usually that's when things get ugly, right? Is when teachers don't understand, what Instagram is, and kids figure it out, right? Or kids, teachers don't understand what TikTok is, and kids figure it out on their own, right? So that's when things get dangerous. And so I think that this idea of this mentored experience doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be good at all of this stuff. I'm certainly not saying that you need to go sign up for all these different social media and digital platforms, but being able to help your students, and mentor together these experiences in the classroom will help. All right, using age-appropriate tools, using age-appropriate ideas. Again, with the idea that over time, that the students will be able to create, connect, and communicate and collaborate in ways that are positive, right? And contributing to the larger society, right? Family, school, community, everything. So that's kind of our idea. All right, and so we have a couple of different things that we have done to address this, and one of them is working with common sense education. Now, I will mention that all of these books that I'm going to share with you here today, I will put the links to in the chat window, and you can find most of them here in our teacher dashboard under the Discover section where it says Digital Citizenship Books, right? So you can click on there where it says Digital Citizenship, and you'll be able to see all of the books that we're going to be talking about here tonight. So the very first one here is again, just a book that we worked together with Common Sense Education to come up with. And this is Your Rings of Responsibility. And all of these books have, very similar feel to them, a very similar design, right? Very comfortable and colorful and exciting and engaging for students. And so each book starts off with a welcome, talks about some key vocabulary. And again, there's a couple different ways you could kind of do these books with your classroom. You could do them all together as a group. So maybe just project this book up onto the whiteboard and you kind of go through the pages together. You discuss the key vocabulary, you go through here and you watch these embedded videos that we have, that Common Sense Education has. You listen to some things by clicking on the audio button. Okay, and so inside of these books, we have lots of different opportunities for different modalities, right? So maybe if you want to watch videos, you can watch videos. If you want to read the text, you can read the text. If you want to listen with your ears, go for it. But again, more vocabulary, right? Read is responsibility. But then as you're going through these books, I love this because this is where we start to really get that kind of call to action. We get that group discussion going on, right? What responsibilities do you have? Type or record your answers in the circles below. And so again, if you're not familiar with Book Creator, your students could then click the plus button. They could go to where the media button is and click text, and they could simply add their text here. They can use the microphone to add the text in their own voice, and it will just go right onto the page as text. Or my personal favorite is click the plus button, and under the media, click record. Right, and then you can click record your voice, and it goes wherever you want on the page. And so then you can add that inside here. So again, I think this is really important. As the kids are thinking about this, what kind of responsibilities do you have for yourself? What kind of responsibilities do you have for your community? And what kind of responsibilities do you have for your world? And again, I think this is a very good discussion, right, within the class. Maybe you break out into groups and you discuss it, and then you come back and you put some answers in the book on as a group. And maybe you want your kids to do this on their own. And so you could use this as a self-paced kind of activity book. And so if you're choosing to do that, then this is the method, right? So you create a library, you get these books from our Discover section. This is very easy. Just click on where it says Digital Citizenship Books. You can see the books here. And when you click on them, one of the options is to remix that book right into your library. So you simply click remix, you choose the library that you want it to go into, Digital Citizenship, and click copy book. And then that book goes right into your library and you can edit it however you want. All right, so again, really awesome activity books that you can use with your students. Now, Once it's in your library, though, that's only the first part, right? That's only the first step. So if you want your students to do this book on their own, at their own time, and on their own pace, then what you're going to do is when they join your library, I always put the word template in front of my book. And then when your students join the library, they click the book icon, they click copy book, and then they choose whatever library you've created for your kids, and it makes an exact copy of that book that the student can now edit. All right, so they can work through this book on their own time, at their own pace. They can answer the questions, they can change designs if they want to, and it doesn't mess up the teacher's original copy. All right, so this is a really cool exercise. Maybe they go on the cover, maybe they want to add their own photo, right? So you know it's theirs. All right, click use, and now I've added my own photo right here to the cover, and I can resize that, move that around, and just put it wherever I need to. All right, so your kids can go through these books and answer these pages on their own. Going back into this book, again, there are some really awesome pages in here. So that was the, what responsibilities do you have? And if we go to the next page, here are some sample answers. All right, so it gives you some things. So especially if kids get stuck, right? Maybe some of the younger kids might be like, I don't know, do I have any responsibilities? I'm just a kid, right? Like, what kind of responsibilities do I have? Gives them some sample answers. And here's another activity. I never share things about my friends that they wouldn't want other people to know. I treat others with respect in person and online. And I only use apps and websites that are okay for my age. All right, so again, how would you do these things? Okay, so again, another activity. So students might say, I never share things online that, they wouldn't want other people to know. All right, so maybe they think it goes here, and they just click and drag it. So as the students have access to edit it, they can drag these buttons into the different circles. I like this one, choose 3 colors and assign them a color key, right? So again, just kind of making things real visual, all right, about yourself, about your community, and about your world. And then what you're going to do is you're going to follow the statements on the following pages, and you're going to try to decide, right, if I make careful choices about media, what colors, all right, do they go? So Giselle, a good question. Do we have the option to translate this into Spanish? So we have not translated these digital citizenship books into different languages right now. Book Creator is a very small team, and none of us speak many languages. So unfortunately, we haven't had the opportunity to do that. But what I will say is that some of the ambassadors that we work with have translated some of our digital citizenship books into other not digital citizenship books, but some of our other activity books, they've translated into other languages. And so what is nice here is that when you download this book as a remix, you can change it to whatever you want. So if you want to add the text in here in Spanish, you can certainly go through there and change that and add it right there for your kids. So absolutely. All right, another activity here. And again, you keep going through this, there are lots of different things that you can do with your students. I do like this book, especially because it does end with some questions to kind of reflect. All right, and if you want, it says move the questions to reveal the answers. So I can click and I can go back and say, question 2, when we use the internet or devices, we should think of only of how our actions affect ourselves, true or false. And of course, the answer there is false, right? We want to think about others as well. So again, very interactive and lots of fun. And then there's a family activity at the end of this book, because I do think it's important that we don't just, expect that this idea of digital citizenship only happens in school, right? This is something that should happen everywhere. And so I think it's really important to get the family members involved as well. And then there are some bonus activities and media agreements down there below. And then at the end of each book, there is a link to the Common Sense Education materials. Now, I do think this one was geared a little bit towards the older students. But if you go to here to something like Hearts, Online Friendships, then there is some younger type materials here. So again, you can give these to your kids. There are some scenarios in here. There are some samples of what might happen. And again, more scenarios, lots of things to go through and discuss. So totally up to you if you decide that you want it to go individual or if you want to do these as a group. So lots of different options there. And then I also wanted to share some extra resources that we have. Oh, as soon as my little bar disappears there we go. This book right here is one that was created by Dr. Monica Burns. And Monica is a good friend of ours here, a book creator. She talks about us a lot at conferences, things like that, but she has made some really amazing books for us. And one of them is this digital citizenship book. And so I'm going to put the link to this book here in the chat window. And that way you can go ahead and get it if you want. This book is also in our Discover section. So it is always there. So don't feel bad if you miss the link, but it is always going to be there in the Discover section. All right. Now, in this book, Monica has come up with a ton of really cool ideas and information for students. So creating digital citizenship activities. She's got lots of background information in this book, specifically talking about being well-balanced, digital footprint, and all these fun things here. But as we go through it, lots of really interesting activity ideas. And this one I think is really important. So balance being the key, right? I think we can all get kind of trapped into technology and sometimes we get stuck, right? We can't figure our way out. But what's really important in life in general is just being balanced, whether that's with technology or social media or food or exercise, whatever the case may be, right? Being balanced is important. And so I think this one in particular is a very eye-opening experience for students. I had a teacher in one of the high schools that I taught in who did this with her sports medicine kids because they were just like all on their devices all the time and she couldn't, get them off of it. So she said, hey, let's do something. And so they kind of took a little log to see exactly how much time they were on their devices. And what's really cool, especially if you have an iPhone, is you can go in here and you can go into your device and you can look at your settings for usage. And so, again, kids might not think that they're on the device that much, but then when they go back in and they're like, oh my gosh, 60 minutes on Netflix on Monday, 80 minutes on YouTube, and 30 minutes on Facebook, right? You start thinking about that and you're kind of like, wow, that's a lot of time, right? That's an hour and a half plus another 80 minutes. And that's quite a bit of time that I've spent on my phone or on a device. So having your kids going and taking this, kind of creating this media log each week and seeing them maybe if they can decrease it a little bit, maybe come up with a little bit more balance in the next, in the following week. All right, again, privacy and security with some activity ideas in here and a digital footprint with some activity ideas. I love this, list your career goals for the future and how social media posts might impact these goals. And so this is an interesting one. I always tell this story, and I've told this story to kids and I've told this story to teachers that I teach. I had this happen to me actually once. So I taught a graduate class for an organization. And one day I was supposed to teach a class and it got canceled because we were one teacher short of having enough people to actually hold the graduate class. And I was kind of upset because one of my friends was going to take the class. It was going to be great fun. I was really looking forward to it. And they canceled the class. And I did something that I shouldn't have, right? I went online and I went on to Twitter and I said, gosh, I'm bummed that I don't get to teach my class. Hashtag annoyed, right? Or something. And almost immediately, my boss called me and I was like, oh, I'm in trouble, right? And he just said to me, he goes, John, I don't think you realize like the power that your voice has on social media, right? You've got quite a bit of followers. And if you say something negative about us, that directly impacts you, right? It's your job. And so it kind of really made me think. And it's so true, right? A lot of the new teachers that we hired at the high school before I left, we judged them based on things that they were posting on social media and based on their knowledge of our social media as a district, right? So lots of important things about digital footprints in here. Being kind, right, online. I think we could all use a dose of that when it comes to online activities and things like that. It's just being kind in general. Again, cyberbullying and standing up for what is right. Lots of activities and ideas. I love the idea of student storytelling. Is a good way. News and media literacy. All right, how do we know what's being told to us is real? Right? Fake news versus real news, right? So being able to identify that, take in that information, and make your own judgments is really important, right? And so again, some lots of activities and ideas in here to discuss that, and then keeping your digital life safe and clean. All right, and so I think I love this analogy of keeping your house clean, right? And keeping your digital life safe and clean. So again, lots of ideas there, lots of scenarios, and then there is a book down here that you can read through as well. So power of words and a lot of other activities here inside of Monica's book. So that is definitely something to think about. We did also work with a school district in Florida. So I'm going to take this link and put it into the chat window as well. We did create something for Digital Citizenship Week. This book can be remixed. So if you're interested in making this your own, you can certainly do so. But again, lots of ideas for using this in the classroom. So everything from these digital citizenship activities, pause for people. There's a warm up here. Some of these, we took these videos from Common Sense Education. We created these really cool graphic organizers, right? So pause, breathe, and finish up. Let's tell a story. So you and your friend are playing a computer game, and your friend's parent arrives to pick them up, but you don't want to stop playing, all right? That happens with my son all the time. He doesn't want to get off the iPad, or he doesn't want to stop watching the show when it's time for bed or time for dinner. And so, can we use these graphic organizers to tell a story about what happens in this case? All right, so we've got some different templates that the students can choose from. Set up the scene. How does this story begin? What happens if you take the wrong action? What happens if you pause, breathe, and finish up, and you take the right action? So lots of ideas here. Again, maybe your students aren't the type that want to write these stories. Maybe they want to create videos or do these awesome skits. They can certainly do that. I love watching kids do skits of things that they shouldn't be doing, because it's pretty easy for them to do. They can act out the way they normally do in class without much trouble. It's the things that they need to do better that sometimes takes a little bit of issue, right, or a little bit of challenge. So I love these activities. And then what happens if you do pause and finish the right way? And that one was for, I forgot what grade level that one was for. Let me get my bar out of the way. That goodie. If you're my age, you know what that phrase means. But nowadays, sometimes the kids are just kind of like, well, words don't hurt me either, right? They think it doesn't hurt. But the truth is that it still does. And so this video talks about the power of words. And again, scenarios with some awesome thinking activities and graphic organizers. How would you feel? All right. So we've got some options here, and then you can click the plus button and add some media in there, some audio buttons. And then we have a task template book. So creating a rhyme. All right. This was one of my favorites. Creating a rhyme. So instead of sticks and stones may break my bones and words will never hurt me, can we come up with a different one? Right? Can we come up with a new rhyme that's maybe a little more modern? Something about tweets and likes, whatever instead. So I love these activities. Again, creating a rhyme, maybe performing it if you have some kids who can perform. So I'm going to click on this next one. This is grades 6 through 8. So I will put that into the chat window here. And this is digital drama. And I'm not going to go through all the pages because they're very similar in concept. But you can kind of get the point here, right? There's teacher notes, there's objectives, followed by activities that you can do with your students or they can do on their own. And then the last book that I have in here is our 9 through 12 version. And then I'll put that into the chat window as well. So again, lots of activities there that you can do with your students. They can do on their own, totally up to you. All right, so I'm going to take a break there for a second. This is more of one of our shorter kind of webinars because it's really more just a chance for you to get in and download some of these books and try them out with your students. But Gisela, do you have any questions or aha moments, or what are some things that maybe you've tried in the classroom for digital citizenship?
Hello, how are you? It's a pleasure.
Good.
I want to try to speak in English. I'm from Paraguay. I can understand you very well, but my English is not so good. Like,
It sounds good. It sounds good.
Okay, my question is that how many children do you can work in the same work like this, for example, in one activity in the same time?
Yeah, great question. So, a couple things. It depends. So, if you have the free version of Book Creator, I'm going to give you two different options here. So, if you have the free version, you're allowed to make up to 40 books. So, if you have a group of kids and you want them each to do this book by themselves, as soon as you get to 40, then that's where your library kind of stops and you can't make any more books in there. But if you go to your teacher dashboard and click the three dots, you can archive that library for later. So if you don't want it anymore, that frees up your 40 books again, all right, so that you can play along with it. Now, I am going to say the benefit is that you are here by yourself. So you get to be our winner. All right? So you're going to win a license to Book Creator. All right. So if you want, you may not, the code that I gave you may not work because you're not in the US. So I will include my marketing manager as well, so that when we know that you're not in the US, she can give you the code that will work. So we'll just make sure you get the right thing. So if you could, just put your email in the chat window and we'll be sure to do that. So what will happen then with that upgraded version is you will be allowed to have up to 200 books in one library. You'll have 1,000 books total, but 200 books in one library, which is great. All right. Now, if you have students that you do want to work in the same book together, then what you can do is click the share button down here at the bottom underneath the book, and you're going to click right here where it says collaborate. Now, with the free version, that won't work, but once we upgrade your account, you'll be able to click collaborate, and then you just hit start collaboration. And then every student that's in that library will be able to participate in that book together. So they can work on the same page, different pages, anytime they want. You will also be able to choose which students can collaborate on that book if you choose. Now, I don't have anybody that has joined this library, but once kids join your library, there will be a button here that says change. And you just click change and you can say, oh, these two students can work in the book. You other two students, you can work in another book. Two other students can work in a different book. So you can kind of play around with that and decide which one makes the most sense in your situation.
And how many children can work in the same book?
So you can have as many kids collaborating in the same book as you want. I've had, I think at one point I had 740 teachers in one book at one time. Now, I don't think our engineering team wanted that. I don't think we would recommend that, but it worked. I think, you know, a couple hundred is not going to be any issue whatsoever, but I did have 740 working in it at once. All right, awesome. And I do have your email here. So I will copy that and make sure that I get that over to that information over to you. And like I said, I will include my marketing person in there as well, so that when it doesn't work for an international school, then we can fix it so that it does, and you'll be all set. Any other questions?
John, do you mind sharing the code for this library so I can make sure that
absolutely. So and Gisela, same thing here as well. I'll put this code into the chat window, or you can write it down real quick. It's totally up to you. But this code will allow you to join my library. And so what you can do once you've joined my library is you can make a copy of any of these books that you want. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go to the three black lines, You're going to scroll all the way down to the very bottom, and it will say join a library. Just click join, enter that code, and join again, and that's going to get you into my library. So you can copy any of those books that you want. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Gisela, Wiley?
I don't have any.
I don't.
I don't have any at this time. I do want to make sure that I thank Gisela for joining us live here. And for those of you who are watching on our live stream as well, thank you. And I do want to, but I do want to make sure that I put the sign-in sheet for you here. And where is that link? I do want to put the sign-in sheet for you here as well, so that wrong link, so that you can sign in and get credit for attending, and so you'll be able to get that CEU that's there. I also want to put the information with regard to where you can go to watch some of the past sessions as well, and then also be able to register for some of our other future and upcoming sessions as well. And so I do want to thank John again and the whole book creator team. Catherine, she's been on here as well, giving some awesome information as well. So I want to thank her as well, that whole book creator team. And if we don't have any other questions, we are going to end the session. Gisela, hopefully you have those links and you can, save the chat. You can open them up and take a look at some of our other resources. We've got some awesome additional sessions, just as awesome as these book creator sessions. Maybe not quite like the book creator app, because it is truly a one of a kind type of app, but some other topics that you will probably find very, very informative and be able to support you as you support your children. Okay. All right. But thank you again, John. I appreciate you, sir, and I salute you. Thank you. And
thank you, Wiley, for having us. We appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll see you around. I guess we'll be in Louisiana for sure for FETC. So
yes, I am so looking forward to that. Definitely.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks, Gisela. Have a good night.
Thanks.